Hey, folks, happy Friday and welcome to the Freedom for the Press podcast. My name's Jason Robertson, and today, my partner in crime, the co-host with the most, Mr. Todd Peterson, a little under the weather. Kids are sick, he's sick, lots of craziness happening in his house. So I'm going solo. Hope that's okay with everybody. It was funny, I was talking to my wife. I'm like, maybe I can get Jen Robb to be on the podcast with me. Like, I think the audience get a kick out of that. It would be fun. Unfortunately, she's got work to do. But I do have filling in Mr. Chuck Norris. For those who haven't heard, prayers out to the Chuck Norris family. Chuck Norris passed away, I believe, 86 years old. They haven't released any information on what happened, but prayers out to him and his family. Truly an American legend, an American icon. I don't know about you guys. Love Chuck Norris. We need more Americans like Chuck Norris. I think it would be fantastic. As we get going here, we're coming to you live on the Facebook, on the YouTube, on the Twitter, on the Rumble. I'm going to say it. I'm biased. My favorite platform of them is Rumble. Why? Because Facebook, YouTube, there's going to be topics that we can't go into today because they don't like them. So sometimes you got to self-censor a little bit on those platforms and they don't like it. But we're building a great community over on Rumble. Rumble's a lot like YouTube. The American Tribune is our channel. It's funny. When I was talking, like, do I bother doing a show myself or do I do it? I might screw up. Todd does the videos and whatnot. I'm like, I'm going to do it because I know our people are hanging out on Rumble. So I log in to start getting things set up. 9:30 K-Gun Girl logs in, says hi. Mark's in shortly after her. We got Francis over there. Yeah, we got all kinds of people over on the Rumble. So we love doing it. And yeah, I gotta say, you guys make this fun. Todd and I, when we started doing this a couple years ago, we're like, we see all the news all week long, and it's just like insane stuff. And we just want to talk to people who see this insanity. Let them know we see you. You're not alone. This craziness is really happening. And when you're looking at this going, this is just insane, you're not wrong. We also try to dive in strongly to show you guys what the mainstream media covers. That's why we're called Freedom from the Press, because on the mainstream media, they lie, they tell you half truths, they shade the image, and we're here to cut through that narrative, and we're here to just dig in and tell you what's going on, connect some dots. And like I say, a lot of times we get ideas from the audience where they'll send us links or they'll copy or they'll put something in the chat. We're like, we got to go check that out. So super fun. We love having you. And as we get going, as always, do us a favor, give us a like, give us a comment, hit the share button, helps the show get reach. When we're and you noticed that we had to like tweak the title a little bit. The communists are taking over New York City. And when we've said that on the last couple broadcasts, Facebook didn't really like it. So they didn't really push it out. So we had to change it. New York's getting what they voted for. So, but yeah, for those who it's your first time here, first hour, we're coming to you on the Facebook. We're coming to you on the YouTube. Then we log off. We go another like half hour or so over on the Rumble and the Twitter. And why? Because that's usually the topics that get a little spicier. We got to keep Mark under control over there, though. Mark can get kind of spicy. He's kind of a right-wing radical like the rest of us. But yeah, K-Gun Girl. Oh, hi, Jason. Sorry to hear that. Happier here. We're happier here, too. We got Becky. You know, prayers out to Becky. She's going through a big battle with cancer. And from myself, the wife, you know, all the audience, like, give prayers to Becky. So far, it sounds like it's going pretty good, but we love you and we want the best from you. There was some chat too about doing some more shows over in the Rumble chat. We're talking about that. We're still trying to figure out the logistics of that. So we love it. On that note, are you guys ready to buckle up? We're going to dive in. We're going to head over to the communist utopia of New York City. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the flashback machine. For those who don't recall, in 2022, Kathy Hochul was running for governor. She took over for Cuomo after Cuomo got defeated or got kicked out of office. She was running against Lee Zeldin. Personally, I look at the election and I'm like, yeah, something seems fishy. But that's for a whole nother episode. But anyways, Kathy Hochul won the New York City election. And, you'd think Democrats are going to come out and they're going to have this message of unity and, hey, let's get New York City on the right track. It was 2022. The nation was recovering from COVID. So let's hear how Kathy accepts her victory in New York City.
Bring government back to the people and out of the hands of dictators. And we're here to say that the era of Trump and Zeldin and Molinaro, just jump on a bus and head down to Florida where you belong, okay? Get out of town. Get out of town. Because you don't represent our values. You are not New Yorkers. You're not New Yorkers. Fighting to...
All right. So Kathy Hochul wins a tight election. It was close. Didn't win by much. Message of unity, not so much. What does she say? We're fighting for democracy, right? And she paints this narrative like Trump's Hitler, Trump's awful, Trump's evil. And she explicitly comes out and says, if you don't like it, go to Florida. And I got to say, Kathy Hochul, she actually did a fairly good job of explaining what Americans should do. If you're in a state, you don't like what they're doing, you don't agree with their approach, you're free. Pack up, head out. What are you going to do? So now if you look at what New York City did, because they elected a communist from Uganda, and part of your brain's got to be thinking, okay, how did that happen? And we talked about this when Mamdani's election happened. And if you look, these are the stats of New York City. And these are voters in New York City. The blue line is how many voted for Mamdani. So 7% of voters in New York City have been in New York City for less than 5 years. These are new people. 85% vote for Mamdani. And I'll be fair, a lot of these are legal immigrants, people that came in, they left awful countries, they came in legally, but they still want to institute the ridiculous policies that cause them to leave their other countries. The second group, 8% of the population, 5 to 10 years, they've been in America. Okay, so and 80% of them voted for Mamdani. Now you have 37% of the population has been here over 10 years, but they weren't born here. They were born somewhere else and they came in. Over half of those people voted for Mamdani. And then you look at the bottom number, which is 45%. 45% that were born in America, raised in America, and voters in America. Only 38% voted for Mamdani, which in my mind is way too high. But I think that it's a pretty telling number. The number right next to that, 50%, that's 50% of the people that voted, they voted for Cuomo. They looked at these communist, insane policies that they were trying to ram through. And even though they ran Cuomo out as governor of New York City, half of those people, a lot of them are Republicans, but a huge percentage of Democrats who were born and raised in America wanted Cuomo over Mamdani. And Republicans, I don't think any of them like Cuomo. I'll be honest. So if you look at this, you got Kathy Hochul wins the election. Hey, we're going to institute all these communist policies. If you don't like it, go to Florida. You have New York City radically changes, and we're not even talking illegals here, which we know there are some illegals that vote and all that, even though they tell you that never happens. But these are just legal immigrants that we flooded America with, who came in, but they haven't assimilated. they want to keep the same beliefs, practices. They don't want to be capitalist. They want to be socialist. All the same reasons they came here in the first place, because we were a great country. They still held on to those beliefs, which is why I'm a big fan of we need to reduce legal immigration too until we can flush some of this stuff out. But New York, they ran a bunch of people out. They ran a bunch of Americans out, and they ended up electing Mamdani. So now we've had Kathy Hochul as governor of New York for a couple of years. You've had Mamdani in there for 6 months. We, excuse me, we've covered a lot on the show how it's going in New York City. But then this week, a fascinating video came out from Kathy Hochul. And I want you to listen to this, and I want you to really absorb this and understand the irony of it. Let's hear what Kathy has to say.
Being conscious of the facts that I need people who are high net worth to support the generous social programs that we want to have in our state. Right? Now, there are some patriotic millionaires who stepped up. Okay, cut me the checks. I mean, just if you want to be supportive, but maybe the first step should be go down to Palm Beach and see who you can bring back home, because our tax base has been eroded. So I philosophically don't have a problem. It is like I have to look at the fact that we are in competition with other states who have less of a tax burden on their corporations and their individuals. And I would say remote work changed everything. There were people who could only work in an office in Manhattan or work in New York State, and they were captives to our state. They were going to stay. We saw that that's not the case. I mean, Wall Street, businesses looking at Texas, they're not going there because they have a nicer governor. I know that for sure. But they're going there because of the tax rate. We have to be smart about this. But we can fund what we want to fund with what we already are taking in.
Interesting. No, I got to say, I got to hop over into the chat there. First, I love Facebook because you get the trolls, the things go out in public. Sometimes Becky has to go over there and fight the battle over there. I mean, Peter, as soon as you learn how to spell multiple exclamation points, I don't know. I'm betting Peter voted for Kamala. I could be wrong. I don't know. We might have had a typo. If he did, Peter, you could have let me know. Hey, Jace, you spelt this wrong. My personal favorite, though, is Sandy over on the Facebook. Shut up. That was very thought-provoking. I'm sure that took you a long time to really come up with that, Sandy. And you offered a great counter argument to why New York City's not screwed. Like, that was great, Sandy. Like, I appreciate the intellectual contribution that you brought over there. It's crazy. Now I got to say, Becky, does New York City want Trump to move back? So here's the thing. They want Trump's money, but they don't want Trump's beliefs. Now Becky's heading over to Facebook. Becky, we got her streaming on 3 pages over there. Freedom Street, Freedom First, and I think on the American Tribune page today. So there we go. Becky's over there now. Say hi to everybody, Becky. We appreciate it. But I'm going to go back and I'm going to play part of this clip. And Kathy actually spells it out pretty good here. Let me see if I can hit the spot right.
So I philosophically don't have a problem. It is like I have to look at the fact that we are in competition with other states who have less of a tax burden on their corporations and their individuals. And I would say remote.
So Kathy there herself admits that, let me get the comments up too. God, I forgot to do that. I'm falling apart today without Todd. You guys make sure you let Todd know we need him around here. It's fun to chat with him, and he runs the back end. But anyways, Kathy Hochul spells it out perfectly. She says Americans have choices. Americans can go, choose to go to another state. Americans, if you don't like the policies of New York City, you go. And I am a huge believer we need to shrink the federal government by about 75%. We need to push all that back to the states. States need to figure stuff out. If you want to have socialized healthcare, do it in your state. If you want to have a $90 an hour minimum wage, do it in your state. If you want to have free daycare for everybody, do it in your state. Don't try to do it nationally. And then if I, as a voter, as somebody who lives in that state, says, you know what, I don't want to pay 70% taxes, I'm free to leave. I live in Minnesota. Todd and I live in Minnesota. Minnesota's getting tough. It's hard to live here. The big cities are destroying this great state. Now, I live out in, more out of town. I live up by where Paul does. Like, it's pretty red. People are normal. People are normal neighbors. And Kathy's going to demonize people that want to make a living, earn a living, keep your money. I get to choose who I'm going to support. If I'm going to give money to an organization who's going to help the homeless, I'll give money to my church. If I see somebody in need, I will give money to somebody. I get to pick that. I don't have to have the government do that and make all these decisions. I need the government to make sure they're letting people into the country or the state that share roughly the same values I do, not like this nonsense you see on the slide where it's all these people who come in who don't even want to live under American norms. The other thing I want to lean into too is
changed everything.
Earlier
programs that we want to have.
Let me go back.
High net worth to support the that I need people who are high net worth to support the generous social programs that we want to have in our state. Right now, there are some patriotic millionaires who stepped up.
Understand how she's framing that. You're patriotic if you want socialism. You're patriotic if you want to work hard to give money to other people. Like, that makes you patriotic. I don't know about you, but nowhere in any of the founding of the country up until the last 20, 30, 40, 50 years has that ever been the patriotic view. Like, the patriotic view is when the snowfall hit in this last week in Minnesota, I snowblowed a couple neighbors' driveway. That is patriotic. I donate to my church. That helps people. That is patriotic. It is not patriotic to give an inordinate amount of my income to the federal government so that the federal government can disperse it. And there it is. Now we got trouble in the house. We got Kev. Todd's sick today. He might try to join. He had 2 sick kids. And, Kev, I was going to DM you. I'm like, Kevin is going to fill in. Kevin's going to be my co-host today, but he's going to go, no, I don't want to be on the interweb. Or Jen was joking. She's like, you should have Becky do it. But I'm like, God, I haven't ever figured out the technology with Becky. So it was crazy. Now, the other thing, if you notice with Kathy Hochul, and I apologize for making you list Kathy Hochul, some of these videos are going to be a little painful, but I'm going to let you listen to this
and being
quick.
Conscious of the facts that I need people who are high net worth to support the generous social programs that we want to have in our state. Right now,
notice how she says, I need individuals with high net worth to come support the social programs. Now, if it's me and I'm looking at New York City and I have radically transformed New York City as we show on this slide, we're bringing in all these new voters. We're bringing in all these new people, immigrants, legal, illegal. How come Kathy's not saying, I need New Yorkers who stayed here, the ones I didn't tell to leave, the ones I didn't call communists, the ones I didn't call evil. I need you guys to step up, make more money, be more productive, so that you can be taxed more to support the group. Like, do you notice these folks they have now in New York, specifically New York City? The call is not, hey, we need to have you guys do more. The call is, we need to go find people from other parts that are successful and get them to come here. It's almost like they're saying the quiet part out loud. Like, the folks we have here can't produce more. They can't figure it out. These guys can't become millionaires, even though all those people leaving should have created tons of opportunities for all these folks that think they can be billionaires or millionaires to step up, fill the void, rent the office building in downtown New York City, start your business. No. The answer is not, let's make the population more successful. The answer is, we need to steal money from more successful people. It drives me bananas. Oh man, yeah, I'm over here. Becky, really, I would fill in. Let me know. Do you want to set up the tech stuff? We'll make that happen, Becky. Probably not today, but that'd be fun. Then I could just text and go like, I need a co-host. Then you just got to hit the button and get on StreamYard. Let's see here. What else? We should all go to 1099 for payroll at the end of the year if we decide the government earned our money. Yeah, I just did taxes. It's kind of interesting because I am a firm believer that you should at some point be self-employed or do your own thing or side gig. It changes kind of your worldview because when you have to write that check for taxes, like as a self-employed person, it's like I need to prepay my taxes or pay them quarterly. When I'm writing that check, man, that makes me feel way different about the government. And I wish every American would do that. It's crazy. But anyways, back onto the topic. So Kathy Hochul, what a clown, told them to leave. Now she's begging them to come back. But we're going to visit with Joy Reid. And I feel bad. I feel like I need to give everybody reparations because I'm subjecting you to such painful videos today. But I want you to listen what Joy Reid said on a podcast when they talk about what Make America Great Again is, and when they talk about, you people that are fascists and all that thing. Like, I want, like, part of our brain as conservatives is like, oh, Democrats don't understand. They don't get it. They don't know. Rah, rah, rah. That's not true. And that's one thing we keep hammering home on the Freedom from the Press podcast. We do it a little more on the Rumble side, but this is not a lack of understanding. This is an inherent different set of values that people have. So let's see what the scholar Joy Reid has to say.
Go back before the 20th century, there were no income taxes, there were no regulations on business. You could earn as much money as you want, leave 100% of it to your children with no taxes. Right. That's the world they want back. And to get it back, they need society to change. They need people to be less modern. They need people to want fewer things.
I got to play that again, like, because we couldn't have heard that right.
Is that if you go back before the 20th century, there were no income taxes, there were no regulations on business. You could earn as much money as you want, leave 100% of it to your children with no taxes. Right. That's the world they want back. And to get it back, they need society to change. They need people to be.
They need society to change. So to do what we were doing before, we need society to change. Okay, I'm following, Joy.
Less modern. They need people to want fewer things. Is that if you go.
Okay. We're gonna break this down.
Back before the 20th century, there were no income taxes, there were no regulations on business. You could earn as much money as you want, leave 100% of it to your children with no taxes. Right.
Okay, so let's take those three. There was no income tax. Raise your hand if you don't want there to be income tax. 100%, I am down with that, Joy Reid. The second thing she talks about is there was no income tax. There was no business regulations. Now, to be fair, like we had kids in mines, we had way unsafe business practices. Okay, I don't want no regulations on businesses, but I really want way less. I'll give you an example. We got a family member that's looking to start a junk hauling business. They're going to look to get a truck, get a trailer. Somebody's got an old couch. Somebody's got junk in their garage they want to get rid of. They want to, go out, hey, pay me X amount. I'll take it. Then they'll take it to the dump or they'll sell it. No kidding. To just do that, you need to incorporate an LLC. You need to get business insurance. So that's probably not bad. Those are okay. You need to get a city license for the city they live in, a county license for the county you live in, and a state license. And that's only if you're hauling junk, not if you're hauling like trash. If you're hauling trash, not junk, you actually have 5 new licenses you need to do. So if you want to start a business in Minnesota where you're just the guy who somebody calls up and goes, hey, I got to get rid of this couch and TV and this, you need to have an LLC. You got to have insurance. That's good. But then you need 3 different licenses just to collect money to go pay. Oh, yeah. And then you get to pay the government part of that. So yes, Joy Reid, I want less business regulation. Now, the third thing she said is something we talk about a lot, especially Will talks about it over on our Substack, www.theamericantribune.news. In America, you used to make money and you used to give that money to your kids. You used to build a house, your kids got the house. You used to build a business, your kids got the business. You used to have an incentive to create wealth, pass that wealth on to your children. And that was part of what we wanted in America. Like, you'd get up, you'd be like, I'm going to start my family. My parents give me some of their stuff so I can get my stuff going. And then I'm going to build something up that I can give my kids. It creates this multi-generational feel that you want in a country where I'm making decisions because the money's going to go to my kids, my grandkids, all those things. Like, I want to look at the business I'm creating with my partners, Todd, and Will, and Mike, and I would like my grandchild to somehow inherit some part of that. But Joy Reid is framing this up as bad. And it is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Now, I'm going to go back and we're going to play a little more of this just to
That's the world they want back. And to get it back, they need society to change. They need people to be less modern. They need people to want fewer things. Is that if you go...
She drops the mic at the end when she says you have to have people to want fewer things. Now, here's where I think lefties like have a hard time with some of these concepts. Joy Reid is saying you have to have people want fewer things. Now, I'm going to ask you this, and like, feel free to let me know, especially the people earlier who told me to shut up on Facebook. So explain this to me. If I work hard and make money and I keep that money instead of giving it to the government, if I work hard and I'm not overregulated, so it's easier for me to start a business, create a business, and do a business, like that's great. And then if I get to give that hard work to my children and my grandchildren, how is that me wanting less? That is me wanting more. That's me wanting to go out in the world and say, I want to establish my own legacy. I want to, we use the phrase in our business, we eat what we kill. And if you think of that on the frontier, like if you don't go out, back in the old days, if you didn't go out and go hunt a deer, you didn't eat that night. We eat what we kill. We are not reliant on we are not reliant on other people to give us deer meat. We know if we don't go get a deer, we ain't eating tonight. I'm good with that. I am confident in my ability to go hunt a deer. I am confident in my ability to go do things out in the world and make money and support my family. I don't understand this leftist logic of people like Joy Reid who say they want people to want less. Here's what they're saying. Here's what Joy Reid's saying. You want people to, you want to take stuff from other people. That's what you want. Joy Reid is talking about a future. When she says people want less, she's saying people who aren't willing to go out and get it, and they've been taking it from other people, they need to want less. No. Those people can want the same. Those people can expect the same. But here's what they have to understand. Those people need to then be willing to go out and work for it. And if you get what you want, you get what you are willing to go work for. And if you don't want to go out and work for it, you're not going to get it. It's crazy. All right, I'm now here we go. In the old days when I did TV, I couldn't wear striped shirts. It made TV strobe and viewers go nuts. Okay, now we got Becky, who's volunteered to be a fill-in. Now Kevin, I don't know if I knew that before. Kevin used to do TV. What's going on? And we got Fally in the house over on Rumble. Shout out to Fally. Then it's a party. And yes, Kev, they are commies. And K-Gun Girl, I gotta say, they want you dependent on the government. That's it. This is why Mark and I are on board we're like connected on this. This is not socialist. This is communism. They want you reliant on the government for everything. It's crazy. I can't believe it. So anyways, Kathy Hochul, you don't like it, leave. Turns out the new people can't make stuff, can't produce stuff. We need you to come back, please. We're still going to hate you. And Joy Reid does an excellent job of breaking down what it is they hate about you. Joy Reid nails it. You don't want to pay a bunch of taxes. You don't want a bunch of regulation. You want to be able to actually leave what you earn to your kids. You're terrible. You just want the rest of us to want less. And people hear that nonsense and they sign up for it. It's crazy. And again, Mark, they want you to own nothing and be happy. It's complete New World Order communist nonsense. It is crazy. All right. Now we're going to travel. We're going to travel to a couple different states to talk about kind of how this is going. In California, they are starting a movement where they're going to start doing some wealth taxes. And I saw this video clip that that kind of breaks down what and how. Oh my God, Kevin. I predict after the interview, Joyce stole that woman's coffee cup. Yeah, she probably knocked her down and said, I am totally taking that from you. Joy Reid's over there. I want more. Give me your coffee cup. Oh my God. Okay, that's pretty funny. But anyways, let's go to California. Let's see how wealth tax is going.
Sad truth of this is, and this may be the message people need to hear, I don't think it will be the billionaires and the wealthiest who pay this tax. And you're right that it isn't just billionaires who are leaving, because people don't believe it's a one-time tax on billionaires. They assume that threshold will be lowered by the legislature over time, and it will become a recurring wealth tax. What that means is, as wealthier individuals, people who own companies, leave the state, it will be the middle class who is left holding the bag and asked to pay more to cover the existing services and infrastructure maintenance that the state needs. And that's why we've got to look at better ways of doing this.
It is so refreshing sometimes when you find people who aren't afraid to tell the truth. And this is an important concept for everybody to understand. Everybody who's talking about they're talking about these wealth taxes. For those who don't know, America did do it for this really short period, like a year after World War II, and then it epically failed. What a wealth tax is, what California is proposing, is if you have a certain amount of wealth over X number, they're going to tax that. Bernie Sanders is talking about it at the federal level, where, hey, anybody over $1 billion, we're going to tax 5%. Now, here's the problem. The problem is assets aren't money. So if you own $1 billion in stock and they want to tax you 5%, you need to sell stock to pay the tax. So really, it's kind of like property tax that I'm not a fan of, where you need to pay the government for owning assets. So you earn money that you paid taxes on to buy an asset that you may or may not have paid taxes on to earn it. And then for having that asset, they want to continue to tax you just for having it. It's not even like your car tabs where they're taxing you to help maintain the roads. Like, this is just, you own this asset, we're going to steal it from you. But the guy breaks down really good, where like everybody thinks like, oh, okay, this is going to be great. The fact of the matter is, you run out of those people's monies really fast. And then that number, that billionaire number, becomes 100 millionaires, becomes 50 millionaires, becomes millionaires. And all of a sudden you blink and that tax rate is slapping you right in the face. And that's what people have to realize when they're talking about these taxes. I think a wealth tax is the most immoral sort of tax you can have. But even if you thought the wealth tax is okay, like, understand it's coming for you. Like, it's not just like, oh, the billionaires. You could take it. Here's a fun stat. If you ever want to have a conversation with a lefty, if you said, let's say we took all the billionaires' money, all of it, and gave it to every U.S. citizen, just gave it up equally, how much money would that be for everybody? You run the math. it's like 30 grand everybody gets. So if you wiped out the entire billionaire class, took all their assets, ignore the fact that it's in stocks and bonds, just say, let's say it was just in their piggy bank. You took all that money, gave it to every American, one-time payout of 30 grand. Like, you're not going to get that far. You give anybody in the audience 30 grand, it'd be great. One-time thing. All of a sudden, now you're going to 100 millionaires, and then 10 millionaires, and then millionaires. It is crazy. So now they're talking about these wealth taxes, and people are looking to flee these states. And oh, wait, I got to hop into a comment. Colleen over on the Facebook, or Caroline, I think Joy Reid meant by wanting less is, for example, people should not put material things above family. As, for example, they have 2 cars and therefore both parents have to work. Nobody is raising children. Want less material things, I think, is what she meant. You know, I could go with that if she didn't want to take stuff from other people. And if the people that they were looking to support were like, hey, I want to contribute my share too. And this is where it breaks down. And this is why I think Joy Reid's arguments are disingenuous. There is never a call for those people wanting stuff from other people to do more. There is always a call for the rich to give more to the poor. There is never a call for the poor to do more so they're not poor. And that's why, like, no, I mean, if we're setting the bar, like, I shouldn't be able to have two cars. Oh, that's pretty low bar. You know, like what kind of lifestyle are we having? Like, everybody I know has 2 cars. I will agree, if we find a way where both parents need to work, totally in support of that. But yeah, that's not the world we live in. But you can do that. You know, like, if you say, hey, I'm okay wanting less, like, I'm not going to have as good a car, phone, that kind of thing, you can do it. It's just, you can't have a double income lifestyle on one thing. You can make it go, though. Oh my God. And Kevin, I paid property taxes a few weeks ago that exist solely to drive seniors out of their homes. I got to tell a quick property tax story. So I have a good friend, Jim. He is a Democrat. He lives in Minneapolis. I do his taxes for him. He is awesome. Great guy. He's not one of these crazy. He's what I perceive to be a normal Democrat. But like, we were talking the other day about property tax, and he's like, oh my God, my property taxes have gone up like 18% 3 years in a row. And like, some of the neighbors, the old nice neighbors, right? Like, they had to move out. Like, they couldn't afford it anymore, you know, because Jim's getting in his 60s. And I'm like, are you drawing the connection between wanting all these social programs, your property taxes going up, and things getting driven out? I'm just saying that's kind of crazy. And yes, we are taxed to death. Oh, Keith, there was a lot of voter fraud, like most of these elections. Keith, you might need to join us over on the Rumble channel. We talk about a lot of stuff like that, but on the Facebook, on the YouTube, they get a little squirrely when we talk about it. But anyways, hopping back to the taxes. So you see in these communist states, Kathy told them to leave. California's going to tax wealth. People are starting to flee the states. And that's not going well because now the people left behind have all these social programs, all the politicians have to pay for. So I saw this new scam, and I immediately, there's 2 angles to it. I'll let you guys listen to it. We'll talk about it on the flip side.
Thurston County just signed off on an ordinance requiring people to obtain a home energy score before listing their property for sale. Thanks for joining us at 11. I'm Steve Solis. The policy aims to encourage people in unincorporated Thurston County to invest in improvements that lower utility bills and reduce carbon emissions. KOMO's Jackie Kent breaks down what homeowners and buyers can expect.
And this will not go into effect until a year from today. We spoke with people who are still mixed about it, including realtors concerned about the housing market.
All in favor, say aye.
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 The Thurston County Council voted that before anyone can list their home for sale, they'll have to get a professional review of their insulation, heating and cooling systems, water heating systems, and more.
Would require a home energy score be completed and disclosed when a home is listed for sale. making energy efficiency and energy costs transparent to residents in the real estate market.
It's the first county nationwide to mandate a so-called home energy score. It's one strategy staff say will lead to reduced energy use and greenhouse gas emissions. Commissioner Wayne Fournier was the only one to abstain from the vote, noting concerns about potential legal and operational challenges.
Being the first is cool, but being the first is dangerous. If there wasn't a bunch of public outcry, I might be more prone to roll the dice.
At a busy county council meeting, proponents noted the HES lets home buyers compare the energy costs of multiple listings. Meanwhile, home sellers can ensure their listing reflects their energy investments.
The assessments themselves would be conducted by private sector professionals, not anyone working for the county or in the county assessor's office.
Opponents are frustrated the assessment can cost up to $350, though low-income households are exempt.
I do not think it's the role of government to intercede and mandate these kinds of inspections.
Realtor Don Baker adds there aren't enough energy assessors to do this work. In fact, the Department of Energy website shows the closest ones are near Portland.
With no way to actually gain a score or the assessment, then that means we can't list any homes.
She spoke out against the move at County Council, then urged Olympia City Council members to not follow suit. Now, cities in the county are evaluating this measure as well. Olympia City Council is set to vote on adopting this measure next week. For now, reporting in Olympia, Jackie Kent, KOMO News.
All right. So when this crossed my timeline, this is out of Washington State. Washington State, for those who don't know, is one of the most insane leftist, or maybe it was Oregon, somewhere on the West Coast. I forget the state. I'm like, this is the most insane thing I've ever heard. Now, there are two parts to it. So one, on the surface, this is climate insanity. Like, you need to have your home energy score because you're going to melt the glaciers and kill the polar bears. I'll be honest, like, a lot of us on the right thought we moved past the climate insanity. A lot of us are like, oh, okay, Al Gore's finally done. We're going to stop showing pictures of polar bears on a glacier. No, folks, it's gone in remission. It's not gone. They're going to go with the crazy, insane climate stuff. They're using bureaucracy to control you. Now, here's the dot a lot of people aren't connecting. What they're saying is basically if you're going to sell your house and leave and flee. So think back to Kathy Hochul. Kathy Hochul said, you don't like it here, leave. And a bunch of people said, we're not communists. We don't want to give all our money to the government to redistribute to people. We'd like to keep our money. We want the what Joy Reid described. We want to keep our money. We want to keep our taxes, all that sort of thing. And yeah, so we left. So now Washington or Oregon, whatever Western state it was that is having people flee, is coming out and saying, we want to make it as difficult, as complicated, and as expensive as it can be for you to try to flee the state. Because if you look at that stuff, like, imagine, like, it's going to make selling a house, it's going to make, people leaving these states just way more complicated, difficult. Can you imagine having to try to work through, like, I don't know about you guys, but in Minnesota, the DMV can barely function appropriately. They can't get potholes filled in the yard. I talked about the junk hauling business where you need 3 different licenses just to haul somebody's couch. I mean, think of that. In Minnesota, if you just want to get paid to go haul somebody's old couch from their house to the dump, you need to get 3 licenses to do that. Insane. And now, if you want to sell your house, but they're trying to keep you entrapped, all those sorts of things. It is crazy. Oh, okay. Now, all right. I gotta go back to Carolyn. We might I think that was the same person that commented earlier. People who have earned or inherited their money do not owe anything to others. Legitimately rich people do donate the largest percentage of donations made in the USA, maybe for a write-off, but the result's the same. P.S. What I meant earlier is that 2 new vehicles, 2 new payments, 1 new one, 1 good used car, so one parent can't. Okay. One parent can stay home with the children. will be there when they get home. Carolyn, thanks for the clarification. I appreciate that. And I'm going to say, too, even without the clarification, I appreciate you trying to make a point about what Joe Reed could have meant. And do you notice we didn't call you names? We didn't yell at you. We didn't call you a Nazi. We just said, like, wow, I don't know. I don't think she agrees with that. Although I do gotta hop into a comment Kevin said. Oh, where can I find it here? Because Kevin's on fire. He's always on fire. It was Kevin's tariff comment. Because this is a comment, Kevin, and I know you'll get the inside joke. Trump wanting to trade tax for tariffs, and it would probably work, but people are too stupid to understand it. I'll let you all draw the connection there. I'll let you all connect the dots. But yeah, in a society, America for generations survived where you just paid tariffs when stuff coming into the country, and that generated enough money for the government to operate because the government didn't have the size and scope that it is now, and it let you keep money yourself. Great comment there, Kev. I had to go back and do it. Yeah, Jen Rob. See, Jen Rob, she's in the chat. She's working downstairs. But, guys, you have to let me know in the chat, like, Jen Rob, you or Becky, next time you need to fill in, like, yeah, we're gonna have to pull you in. But anyways, yeah, and Caroline, we're just giving you a hard time. I appreciate you expanding on what you were saying. But yeah, so anyways, they want to make it as hard for you to flee as possible. And why is that? Because their policies are completely collapsing. I got a couple more stories to hit on the Facebook, YouTube before I head over to Rumble Only, where we got some spice on Rumble Only. But anyways, for those who know, we've been covering on the podcast the Starbucks strike out in some of the very liberal areas. For those who don't know, Starbucks, especially in Washington State, has been their workers went on strike. And here was what the workers were asking for. And it's been going on for 3-4 months. Todd and I talk about it on Fridays every now and again. The Starbucks workers were asking for $30 an hour to brew coffee. $30 an hour. They were asking for set schedules, which anybody who's ever worked retail has never had a set schedule. I mean, it's really rare. There's only a few things. And certainly working at the coffee counter doesn't count. They also were saying anybody working more than 20 hours a week. So you're working 20 hours a week. You're guaranteed a set schedule, and you are making $30 an hour. You need to be guaranteed full-time benefits. That's what they were asking for. So it's been going on for months. All sorts of things is happening. But let's check in on how it's going for the old blue-haired Starbucks workers.
Starbucks in University Way will close its doors next month. The announcement comes just weeks after the end of a 3-month strike at that location. The shop's last day will be April 5th. A manager at the University Way shop says that the strike ended because workers couldn't afford to continue without pay. Employees say they were not given a specific reason for the closure and that Starbucks told the location workers that they would not be able to transfer to different locations.
Let's listen to that again. I just want to share this and enjoy.
The Starbucks in University Way will close its doors next month. The announcement comes just weeks after the end of a 3-month strike at that location. The shop's last day will be April 5th. A manager at the University Way shop says that the strike ended because workers couldn't afford to continue without pay. Employees say they were not given a specific reason for the closure and that Starbucks told the location workers that they would not be able to transfer to different locations.
We kind of start out the whole show where we're kind of talking about like people getting, kind of getting what they voted for. So if you look at these Starbucks workers, I don't know, $30 an hour, pretty dang good wage. Like raise your hand. Like, let me do the math just to see here. So if you've got $30 an hour times 40 hours a week times 52 weeks a year, you are making $62,000 a year full-time with a full amazing benefits package. They want pouring coffee to be a $60,000 a year job. And honestly, they want part-time to be a $30-some thousand a year job with full benefits package. And the company said, well, we're just going to close this store. This is the outcome of these ridiculous demands. Yeah, Becky, that is more than I make. I mean, raise your hand in the chat if $30 an hour is pretty close to what you're making. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty good money. Like going to your local Walmart store, like probably the store manager at $100 million Walmart is making over 60 grand a year. The department manager is probably making over 60 grand a year. The other 400 workers there, they ain't making that. And these guys want it for a little coffee shop. Like we're not even talking like you're doing roofing or you're doing like I'm getting my kitchen remodeled. Like I see how hard those guys work. I don't know if they're making $30 an hour. This is crazy. But yeah, I gotta say, Starbucks, like God love them. And my favorite part, and I just want to hear this I want to play this again at the end. I want you guys to soak it in. Like they see these crazy blue hairs. They've been protesting and striking for months, all that stuff. The mic drop at the end.
And that Starbucks told the location workers that they would not be able to transfer to different locations. The
Starbucks manager said, not only are we shutting your Starbucks down, not only are we giving in to your demands, we are not going to let you transfer to another location. So the Starbucks workers give up. They say, okay, we can't keep going without money coming in. And the Starbucks, like if you look, like pull up any map in the USA, like there's 25 Starbucks within 5 minutes of you. You know, there's Starbucks everywhere. They actually said, we are not going to let Starbucks we aren't going to let you, like, you guys are troublemakers. We don't need your kind. We don't want you here. We are not going to let you transfer to the Starbucks. And I've worked retail. I worked retail the first 20, 30 years of my life. It just absolutely filled my heart with joy because, like, if you're working for a big box retailer like a Target or Walmart, there may only be a couple stores nearby. They may not need you at another store. But if you're working at like McDonald's or Starbucks, there is 100 of them within a pretty close distance, and they're always hiring. But think of how bad these workers had to be if they're like, we are not even going to let you transfer. It is hysterical. Oh my God. Oh, the chat's going up too. Oh, there we go. We got Dee Dee in the house. Dee Dee, what's up? Dee Dee, I know. Welcome to the party over here. Yeah, Kev, don't forget Starbucks owner Harold Schultz ran for president. I don't think he made it for Iowa. Yeah, it's crazy. Got Andy over on the Facebook. Liberalism is a mental disorder. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is pretty fascinating stuff. All right. We're running up to about 50 some minutes. I got one more story that just cracked me up before we end the Facebook and the YouTube and head over just Rumble only. I'm going to extend an invitation to, like, hey folks, hop on to Rumble if you haven't done it. We have a lot of fun over there. I got a few interesting interesting videos for us to talk about. One of them is kind of cool, talking about Pokemon Go. So I saw this story and it just cracked me up. But this is going to be an important one. And especially on the platforms we're going to be logging off on, I want you to pay attention to this. I want you to understand. So a Joy Reid and your crazy neighbor with the Kamala Harris sign are kind of two different things. Joy Reid is the elite. They're the communist leaders. Watch the Hunger Games. They're the people in the Capitol with the fancy clothes, running the fancy balls, and they want everybody else to be workers. How they get there is they employ all these people as useless bureaucrats. I worked for major corporations for like 30 years. You know, there's always this thing like, oh, stupid headquarters. Like, they make bureaucracies that doesn't make actually doing business to be like they don't make your life easier. It's like your HR department needs to be small and efficient. HR needs to make sure people get paid, answer some benefits questions, the end. But instead, they make these HR departments that are these ginormous things that don't make more widgets, that don't sell more widgets, that don't do that. It just becomes bureaucracy. This story that came out of New York City blew me away. And let me know in the comments before I play the video. Let me know what you think the average income in New York City is. So if you take all the residents in New York City, how much do New York City's residents make on average? So there's going to be somebody making $15 an hour or whatever the minimum wage is in New York. There's somebody going to be making $1 billion. But what's the average annual income in New York City? This is and then we'll talk about this on the flip side.
It'd be one thing if they were proving that spending all this money is helping the homeless population get off the streets and get back into work, but there's no sign of that. In fact, the homeless population is only growing in this city. Governor Hochul, meanwhile, is taxing on.
Did you guys catch that? So unhomed people in New York City, if you look from 2019 to 2025, it has gone up from $102 million to $368 million. Now, what's happened from 2019 to 2025? Oh, yeah. And I forget the comment. It was back up over on Facebook where they're talking about sporting illegals. This is New York City. Look at the cost just from the city for how much unhomed people are costing. That's on top of illegals, because this doesn't and some of the money could be from illegals because they're factoring paying for the hotels. But think about how much that is. That is insane. Now, the other part, the number that jumped out at me, so I had to go on the Google and look it up. All right, cost per unhoused person in New York City. So if you take the total amount of money you spend on the homeless population, understand too, this isn't charities. This is just from government sources, from the state. So this it isn't any of that. You are spending $81,700 per homeless person. And if you walk through New York City, there are more homeless people there than in the history of New York City. And yeah, Becky, I wonder, or who's it, Mark? I wonder how much that money found its way to Somalia. Yeah, we'll talk about that over on the Rumble only. But the average income of the average worker in New York City is $80,000. So New York City itself is spending more per homeless person in New York City than the average person makes in New York City. It's crazy. It's insane. It blows me away. And I don't know how people can keep supporting these policies. But anyways, all right, I'm going to button up here on the YouTube, on the Facebook. For anybody tuning in over there, God love you. We appreciate you. We appreciate you tuning in. Todd will be back next week. Or we're going to bring Becky or Jen Robin to fill in if he gets sick again. Yeah, Becky will figure it out. Probably not today. But with that, I'm going to log out. I'm going to play the intro video again. I'll see you over on Rumble and Twitter on the flip side in 60 seconds. I apologize if the transition isn't super smooth because Todd usually does this. So, but anyways, happy Friday. For those on the Rumble and Twitter, we'll catch you guys on the flip side. All right. Talk to you in a minute.